Back in 2015, the internet went into a meltdown over a photo of a dress, with one simple question dividing the entire world. Was it blue and black or white and gold? People swore they saw completely different color combinations, even though they were staring at the exact same picture. But the dress wasn't the only color controversy. Fast forward to a similar viral sensation involving a pair of sneakers. Some people saw them as pink and white, while others saw them as gray and teal. The internet was once again torn apart. So what's going on here? How can two people look at the same thing and see entirely different colors? Let's find out why your red might be someone else's blue. Let's break down how color vision works. When light hits an object, certain wavelengths are absorbed and others are reflected back. These reflected wavelengths hit your retinas, which contain cones, specialized cells that detect color. We have three types of cones that are sensitive to different parts of the light spectrum. You may have already heard of these when discussing your TV or any display screens. The RGB colors, red, green, and blue. These cones send signals to your brain, which then interprets those signals as color. But not everyone's cones are exactly the same. Tiny differences in cone sensitivity mean that what I see as red might not be exactly the same as what you see as red. For the most part, our brains interpret colors in ways that allow us to communicate about them without confusion. But when things like ambiguous lighting come into play, like with the dress and the sneakers, our brains can fill in the gaps differently, making us see totally different colors. So why do colors look different to different people? There are a few key reasons. First one is the cone sensitivity. Everyone's cones respond slightly differently to wavelengths of light. One person's cones might be a little more sensitive to reds, making a red object look more vibrant to them, while another person might see it as more muted. These differences can be subtle, but they're enough to make people see the same shade differently. There is also the case of color blindness. About 1 in 12 men and 1 in 200 women have some form of color blindness, meaning they may perceive certain colors differently or not at all. For example, someone with red-green color blindness might see both red and green as a similar shade, while others see them as completely distinct. Couple these two with how your brain is processing these colors. It's not just your eyes. Your brain plays a massive role in how you see color. Your brain filters and processes the signals from your cones, sometimes adjusting for lighting or context. This means your perception of color is influenced by your brain's past experiences, cultural associations, and even the lighting around you at that moment. Lighting plays a huge role in how we perceive colors. In both the dress and sneaker debates, the lighting in the photos was unclear, which caused people's brains to interpret the colors differently. This is due to a phenomenon known as color constancy. Your brain constantly adjusts how you see colors based on the lighting conditions. For example, a white wall can look yellowish under warm lighting, but in bright daylight, it appears stark white again. Our brains are constantly compensating for these changes, but when the lighting is ambiguous, like in the viral images, our brains make assumptions that can lead us to see entirely different colors. There is another element to it. The dress and sneaker images went viral online, where everyone viewed them on different screens with varying settings, brightness, and color profiles. Here's why this matters. Screens use the RGB color model, red, green, and blue pixels combined at different intensities to produce colors. But the exact way your screen blends these colors can vary by device. A shade that looks perfectly blue on one screen may appear slightly greenish or gray on another due to differences in color calibration. And screen calibration and color profiles are very different, since not all screens are calibrated equally. High-end monitors, like those used by designers, often have color profiles that more accurately display colors, while phones, tablets, and budget monitors may have slight color distortions. If your screen is too warm, for example, colors may appear slightly yellow, and if it's too cool, they may look blue. And then there is ambient light and screen brightness. The lighting around you also affects how you perceive color on screens. A bright screen in a dim room can look washed out, while a dim screen in bright lighting can distort color perception entirely. Our brains adjust based on the lighting context, so colors on your phone might look slightly different when viewed outside versus in a dark room. These screen-related factors show that two people looking at the same image on the different devices might see completely different colors. Add in individual eye differences, and you have a recipe for the dress debate all over again. So the big question, can two people ever see the exact same color? The answer is probably not exactly. While most of us experience color in a way that's close enough to agree on what's red or blue, the tiny differences in our cone cells, the way our brains process information, and environmental factors like lighting mean that your perception of a color is always uniquely yours. But that's what makes perception so fascinating. No two people experience the world in quite the same way. At the end of the day, color is a deeply personal experience, and whether you saw blue and black or white and gold, one thing's for sure: our brains are constantly showing us a world that's uniquely ours. Who knew color could be so complicated?